A sad girl sat alone on her graduation day, until a Mafia boss came closer. Aria Hart sat alone at a corner table, her graduation cap resting beside the armrest of her wheelchair like a prop from someone else's life. Her name had been called that morning. Summa cum laude. Top of her class. The applause had rolled across the auditorium and moved on. No one had stood for her. No one had waited afterward. Now it was just her, the chair, and her phone. She held the phone out at arm's length. The screen showed a girl with dark hair tucked under a cap, lipstick neat, robe hanging off narrow shoulders. The chrome of the wheelchair sliced through the frame like it owned the moment. Her smile looked like it hurt. Delete. She tried again, forcing the corners of her mouth up. Just look happy, she muttered. For once. Click. She checked the photo. She looked like someone pretending not to be alone. Her thumb hovered over delete when the door banged open. Cold air and rain swept in with a man who stepped inside. Black coat. Dark hair damp against his forehead. Water slid to the collar of an expensive-looking shirt. He shook his hands once, annoyed, like a person who wasn't used to being surprised by anything, least of all the weather. His gaze swept the room, tables, faces, exits, in one clean, practiced motion. Then he saw her. The girl in the wheelchair trying to take her own graduation photo. He walked straight over. No pause, no sympathetic tilt of the head. Just controlled strides and boots that thudded softly on the floorboards. Don't, he said quietly. Aria froze. What? He nodded at her phone. Don't delete it. Let me fix it. His voice was low, flat, the kind people obeyed without realizing why. She hesitated. He crouched anyway, dropping to one knee beside her so they were eye level. Up close, she caught the faint mix of cologne and smoke, the pale line of a scar along his jaw half hidden by stubble. Rain clung to his lashes. He held out his hand. May I? Her fingers brushed his as she passed him the phone. His grip was warm, rough at the knuckles, steady in a way that made her aware of how much her own hands were shaking. He flipped the camera, tilted it slightly up, framing her face, the cap, the fall of the gown, and almost none of the wheels. A day like this deserves better proof, he murmured. Look at me, not the screen. She did. His eyes were dark, unreadable. No pity. Just focus, like she was the only thing in the room worth paying attention to. Now, he said, the corner of his mouth shifting, smile like you mean it. The loneliness pressed against her ribs, heavy and familiar. Then something in his expression softened, like he was offering her a secret meant only for her, and her chest loosened. The smile came on its own. Click. He checked the image once, gave the faintest nod, and handed the phone back. There. That's you. Aria glanced down. The girl on the screen looked alive. Her eyes caught the light. The chair was there, but it was background, not the headline. Congratulations, he said as he rose. On graduating, Aria. She stared. How did you? He tapped the tassel on her cap. Context clues. Then he turned away and headed for the counter. He ordered his coffee in a clipped tone that made the barista stand up straighter. Even standing still, he looked coiled, like his body didn't understand, relaxed. Aria watched him in the reflection of the window. People shifted around him without realizing they were giving him space. He looked like the kind of man strangers avoided. Yet he'd crossed a room to kneel in front of her. Say thank you, she thought. Ask his name. Something. Instead, she saved the picture, locked the screen, and rolled out into the rain. The storm had eased to a mist. The sidewalk shone wet beneath the streetlights as she pushed herself toward the bus stop, the wheels humming on slick concrete. She kept seeing his eyes. The scar. The way the room had gone quiet in her head when he said, There. That's you. For the first time in 3 years, a picture of her didn't make her flinch. She didn't know his name. She didn't know she'd see him again. But 3 days later, she did. 3 days later, the rain returned. Aria wheeled carefully down the slick ramp outside the community center, palms pressed to the metal rims. Halfway down, her right wheel slipped on a wet patch and jerked hard sideways. Her stomach lurched. She gripped the handrails. Too late. The chair twisted to a dangerous angle, wheels skidding. Hold on. The voice hit her first. Deep, steady. The same one from the coffee shop. She looked up. The man from that day, dark coat, unreadable eyes, strode up the ramp with controlled urgency. He reached the back handles of her chair just as the wheels slid again, stabilizing her with a firmness that felt effortless. "I've got you," he murmured, adjusting the angle until the chair locked into balance. Her breath shuddered out. "You." He gave a faint, unreadable smile. "I remember you. Graduation photo." A strange warmth washed through her. "Thank you. Again. No trouble." His hand stayed steady another beat before he stepped back. "Didn't expect to see you here. I have physical therapy on Tuesdays." He nodded once. "My daughter has art class." Daughter. That should have surprised her, but somehow it fit. There was a softness in him that didn't match the sharp lines of his coat or the way he scanned every corner of the parking lot like he was memorizing exits. "She's inside," he added. "I usually wait in the lobby." He shifted his weight, like he wasn't used to standing still this long. Rain tapped steadily on the hood of his coat. Aria cleared her throat. "I never got your name." He hesitated a second too long. Then, "Dante." "Dante." The name fit him, dark edges, something dangerous underneath. "I'm Aria," she said. "I know." His gaze flicked briefly to her graduation tassel attached to her bag. "You worked hard for that degree." She opened her mouth to reply, but he took a small step back. "You should get inside before the ramp eats you alive." That earned a laugh from her, unexpected, warm, real. He nodded once, almost like he accepted the sound as a kind of thanks, then walked into the building. She watched him until he disappeared around a corner. There was something about him, something coiled tight behind his controlled exterior. A sadness. A storm. A secret. A week passed before she saw him again. Aria turned a corner in the supermarket and found Dante standing in front of a wall of cereal boxes, arms crossed, expression carved out of irritation and exhaustion, as though the universe had personally offended him through processed grains. He didn't notice her until she spoke. "Having a crisis." His head snapped toward her. Then that rare, quiet smile. "Aria." She rolled up beside him. "What's wrong with the cereal?" "My daughter only eats the ones shaped like animals." He lifted 2 boxes. They discontinued her favorite. "Now I'm standing here trying to figure out which animal looks less like a bribe." Aria laughed softly. "How old is she?" 7. A hint of softness broke through the steel in his voice. "Her name is Sophia. She's everything. Everything." The word landed heavy, full of loss he didn't explain. She looked at him more closely. He wore the same dark coat, but his eyes looked more tired, more haunted. "Do you have time for coffee?" she asked before she could overthink it. Dante blinked, actually surprised. Then, slowly, "Yeah, I'd like that." They took a small corner table near the supermarket cafe window. Aria ordered tea. Dante ordered black coffee and drank it too fast, as if the bitterness kept him grounded. She studied him. "What do you do, Dante?" He chuckled under his breath, but not in amusement. "Right now. Not much." "That's not an answer." He lowered the cup. "I've been trying to leave a business I inherited. It's complicated." His jaw tightened slightly. "People don't exactly line up to hire someone with my history." "What kind of history?" A muscle in his cheek flexed. "The kind I don't want touching my daughter's life anymore." The air between them shifted, warmer, heavier. Aria didn't push. Something in his voice warned her that whatever he carried wasn't just painful. It was dangerous. He exhaled slowly, like letting himself speak had cost him something. "I applied to a major development firm last month. Hart and Associates." His tone dipped into dry irony. They didn't even bother sending a real rejection. Just silence. Aria's stomach twisted. Hart and Associates. Her father's company. "That's frustrating," she said carefully. "It's reality." His eyes darkened. "People don't forget who I used to be." She almost asked who that was, but something in his gaze made her stop. You don't ask a man like him about the blood in his past. Not until he offers it. Instead, she asked, "What happened to your wife?" Pain flickered across his face, a shadow passing. "Cancer. 2 years ago. Fast. Brutal. I'm sorry." He nodded, throat tight. Sophia was 5. I was angry at the world. At myself. I did things I'm not proud of. Lost myself in all the wrong places. His fingers tapped the table once. "I've been trying to fix it. Trying to be better." Her chest tightened. He wasn't just dangerous. He was broken in places she understood. "I fell once," she said softly. "Literally. A climbing accident. Broke my spine." She gestured at her chair. "Everything changed after that." Dante didn't flinch. He didn't look away. He just listened. Really listened. And something in her cracked open under that quiet, unwavering attention. They talked for nearly an hour. When they finally stepped outside, the air smelled like wet pavement and dusk. "Thanks for this," Dante said. "Maybe we could do it again sometime." "I'd like that." She watched him walk away, shoulders tense, coat shifting in the breeze. He looked like a man carrying an entire war inside him. Later that night, Aria waited until her father went to bed. Then she wheeled quietly into his office. She sifted through a stack of rejected applications on the desk until she found it. Dante Morelli. Stamped in red. Do not consider. Background concerns. She opened his portfolio. Beautiful. Human. Brilliant. He wasn't just trying to leave his past. He was talented enough to deserve a future. Her heart pounded. For the first time in her life, Aria Hart broke a rule on purpose. And changed everything. 2 days after Aria quietly reopened Dante's application, Hart and Associates called him. He phoned her immediately, voice breathless, stunned. "They want to interview me," he said. "Aria, they actually want me." She pressed the phone tighter to her ear. "That's incredible. I don't understand. They ignored me before." A quiet laugh, disbelieving. "Maybe someone finally saw what I can do." She swallowed. Hard. Maybe. He deserved it. He deserved a real chance. A new life. A door opening instead of slamming shut. But she felt the lie by omission tightening in her lungs. "Aria," Dante said softly, "talking to you reminded me I'm not the monster people think I am." Her heart cracked. "You're not a monster," she whispered. The interview went better than he ever hoped. When he called her afterward, his voice was rough with emotion. "They offered me a position. Project lead. I start Monday." Joy bloomed through her like sunlight. "I'm so happy for you. I can't believe this is real." After years of failing Sophia, his voice broke, something raw spilling through. "I finally get to show her I'm not just my past." "You were never just your past." He didn't answer, but she heard him breathe like he believed her for the first time. Saturday, she went to Riverside Park to meet him and Sophia. The sky was clear, families everywhere. Dante stood by the playground, one hand holding a small girl's. Sophia Morelli had curls like warm ink and bright, curious eyes that missed nothing. She wore a yellow dress and a tiny leather jacket, miniature Dante. When the little girl saw Aria approaching, she walked right up to her. "Hi," Aria said gently. "You must be Sophia." Sophia tilted her head. "Are you a queen?" Dante groaned. "Sophia." Aria laughed, full and unrestrained. "Why do you think I'm a queen?" Sophia pointed at the wheelchair. "Because you have a throne." Dante dropped into a crouch beside his daughter. "Sweetheart, this is a wheelchair. It helps Aria move." "Oh." Sophia considered this seriously. "Can I ride in it?" "Sophia." Aria laughed again. "Maybe later. If your dad says it's okay." Sophia spun the wheel gently with her palm, fascinated. Dante watched Aria with something torn between apology and tenderness. "She doesn't have a filter," he murmured. "It's fine," Aria said. And she meant it. Sophia's curiosity felt honest, not cruel. They spent hours together. Sophia played, running back to show them rabbit-shaped rocks, crooked drawings, handfuls of dandelions. Dante and Aria sat on a bench, close enough that she could feel the warmth of him when the wind shifted. "What will you be doing at Hart?" she asked. "Development planning. Community housing. Something clean." He exhaled slowly. "Something my daughter won't be ashamed of." Aria touched the wheel rim absently. "She'll be proud of you." He glanced at her, eyes softer than she'd ever seen. "So will I." Later, Sophia climbed into Aria's lap with her stuffed rabbit and demanded a story. Aria spun her a tale about a girl who fell from a mountain but learned to fly anyway. Sophia listened, hypnotized. When the story ended, the child hugged her tight and whispered, "I like you." Aria felt something inside her open, something she thought had died the day she fell. Dante saw it. She felt his gaze on her, warm and aching. She looked up. The air between them thickened, charged. Neither spoke. But something had shifted. The shift didn't last. By Dante's second week at Hart & Associates, the rumors reached her. Patricia called one evening. "They're saying he jumped the line," she warned. "That his hiring was irregular." Aria's stomach twisted. "Who's saying that?" "Todd Brennan." Loudly. "He thinks Dante got in through connections. He's digging into his background." Heat rose up Aria's neck. "He doesn't know anything." "He knows enough to smell blood," Patricia said. "Stay quiet. If they find out you intervened," she hesitated, "it will destroy both of you." The call ended. Aria sat in the dark, pulse hammering. Outside her window, the rain started again. Dante grew distant. When she texted, replies came slow, clipped. He came home later. Sophia mentioned he barely smiled at work anymore. Finally, Aria called him. "Are you okay?" she asked. "No," he said. No hesitation. No mask. The truth hit like a punch. "People don't respect me," he said quietly. "They talk when they think I can't hear. They think I don't belong. And maybe they're right. They're not. I don't have the degree. I don't have the clean past. Every time I walk into that building, I feel like a criminal trying to pretend I'm not one." His voice broke on the last word. Aria closed her eyes. "You earned your place," she whispered. "Did I?" His tone sharpened, painful. "Or did someone feel sorry for me?" Her heart lurched. The secret between them grew teeth. "Dante, listen. I have to go. Sophia needs dinner." The line went dead. Aria stared at her phone, feeling something unravel inside her. Later that night, long after midnight, her father's voice carried down the hall, sharp, low, tense. A phone call. An investigation. Her pulse spiked. He knew something. Or he was close. The next day, Dante didn't meet her eyes at the community center. Didn't stay to talk. Just a nod, bare, strained, before disappearing with Sophia. Aria felt the distance like a blade. She'd wanted to help him. Now she wasn't sure if she'd destroyed him. She wasn't sure she hadn't destroyed herself too. Aria barely slept that night. Her father's clipped voice from his office replayed in her mind, stern, impatient, the tone he used only when something was wrong. By morning, dread coiled like wire in her stomach. When he finally summoned her, she wheeled into his office and saw it immediately. A file, sitting on the desk. Dante's. Her father, Aria Hart, didn't look angry. He looked cold. "Explain this," he said. Aria kept her chin up. "Explain what?" "Patricia claims a clerical error reopened this application." Adrian tapped the file. "I don't believe her." "Someone pressured her." "Was it you?" Her heartbeat thudded in her throat. "Yes." His eyes sharpened like shattered glass. "Why?" "Because he's talented. Because you were wrong. Because he deserved a chance. Because I care about him. Because the process is broken," Aria said instead. "You rejected him for the wrong reasons." "You don't understand business," he snapped. "You don't understand people." His jaw tightened. "You crossed a line. You had no authority." "I'm a shareholder," she shot back. "Mom left me that right." A symbolic one, he snapped. You don't make policy. Then maybe policy needs to change. Adrian stood abruptly, palms flat on the desk. He does not belong at this firm. You didn't even look at his work, she said, voice shaking. You dismissed him because of a box he didn't check. Because he doesn't fit the picture in your head. That box matters, he growled. No, Aria whispered. It doesn't. Not more than talent. Not more than effort. Not more than the kind of man he's trying to be. Her father's face hardened. Get out. Her hands trembled against the wheels. Fine. She left, but she didn't regret a word. 2 days later, the board issued an emergency hearing. Todd Brennan had filed a formal complaint accusing Dante of being unqualified, of being hired improperly, of posing reputational risk. Adrian called her into his office again. The board meets Thursday at 10, he said. They'll decide whether he keeps his position. You can stop this, she said. No. I can't. Yes, you can. You have influence. You're the CEO. I'm not lying to protect an unauthorized decision you made. Her heart cracked. I'm not asking you to lie. I'm asking you to see the truth. But he wasn't looking at her anymore. He was looking at his computer. As if she were a problem, not a daughter. Not tonight. Maybe not for 3 years. She met Dante in his car outside the community center. Rain hammered the windshield, a steady, relentless drum. He stared straight ahead. I knew this would happen. It's not over, she said. It is for me. His voice was quiet. They'll drag out every mistake I ever made. They'll be right. No, Aria whispered. They won't. You don't know what I've done. His fists tightened on the wheel. I've spent years trying to outrun the man I used to be. But I guess he always catches up. She reached for his hand. His fingers were cold, tense. Dante, I know what it feels like to walk into a room and feel like your very existence is a burden. I know what it's like to think one wrong move will reveal everything broken inside you. He didn't look at her, but his grip tightened slightly. I don't want you to lose anything because of me, he whispered. I'm not losing anything. Her voice trembled. I'm choosing you. I'm choosing what's right. And if we lose anyway... His voice cracked. Then we lose together. A single tear slid down his cheek. He didn't wipe it away. The boardroom felt like another world. Cold light, polished wood, the smell of expensive fear. 7 board members. Adrian at the head. Todd Brennan with his file like a weapon. Dante sat near the door, spine straight, eyes fixed on nothing. Aria wheeled in beside him. Todd began. He listed every reason Dante didn't fit. No degree. Criminal past. Risk. Image problem. A liability. He said Dante's name like it tasted foul. Dante didn't move. Didn't defend himself. When Todd finished, a board member turned to Dante. Do you have anything to say? His mouth opened but no words came. He wasn't afraid. He was ashamed. Aria couldn't take it. Yes, she said. He does. The room went still. Marcus, Dante, was hired because he's talented, she said. Because his work is extraordinary. Because people are more than their resumes. Todd scoffed. This isn't about talent, Miss Hart. It's about standards. No, Aria said. It's about fear. Your fear. You rejected him because he doesn't fit your narrow picture of what credibility looks like. A board member leaned forward. Miss Hart, are you admitting to intervening in this hiring decision? Aria lifted her chin. Yes. I reopened his application. I made sure someone looked at his work. Because he deserved that chance. Chaos erupted. Voices rose. Todd looked triumphant. Dante looked shattered. Adrian slammed his hand on the table. The room fell silent. He stared at Aria. You had no right. I had every right, she whispered. I'm your daughter. Or have you forgotten that? His face went pale. For the first time in 3 years, pain flickered through his expression. This meeting is adjourned, Adrian said quietly. We reconvene in 2 days. He walked out. The board followed. Silence. Dante looked at her with hollow eyes. I'm going to lose my job. Aria reached for his hand. I won't let that happen, she whispered. But she didn't know if she could stop it. That night, she wheeled into her father's office again. Adrian looked older, defeated, like a man who hadn't slept in a decade. What do you want, Aria? He asked softly. I want to know why you're letting them destroy him. Because it's the board's decision. No, she said. Because you're afraid. He froze. You stopped being my father the day I fell, she whispered. You couldn't look at me. You couldn't talk to me. You decided I was broken and you hid. His hands trembled. I see you every day, he whispered. And every day I'm reminded that I failed you. Her breath stopped. I don't need you to fix me, she said. I just need you to show up. A tear slid down Adrian's cheek. I don't know how, he whispered. You start by trying. He closed his eyes. And for the first time since her accident, he tried. The next morning, Aria Hart did something Aria never expected. He called an emergency board meeting, without Todd Brennan. When the board gathered, the air was tight with expectation. Adrian stood at the head of the table, a file in his hands, not the rejection file, but Dante's portfolio. He opened it. Before we discuss anything else, he said, voice steady, I want you to see this. He spread out Dante's designs, clean lines, human-centered spaces, blueprints that breathed dignity. This, Adrian continued, is what architecture is supposed to look like. A murmur rippled through the room. I rejected this man's application because of a credential he doesn't have, Adrian said. But talent doesn't disappear because someone's past is complicated. Vision doesn't vanish because someone made mistakes. My daughter saw that before I did. He looked up, eyes shadowed but resolute. My standards were flawed. The system I built was flawed. And if this company is going to move forward, we must learn to see beyond paper. Todd Brennan stood abruptly. With all due respect, this sets a dangerous precedent. Good, Adrian snapped. Maybe a broken system needs to be threatened. Todd's face drained of color. The room erupted again, but this time, Adrian didn't bend. He stood firm, defending the man Aria believed in. When the shouting settled, the board reached a decision. Dante Morelli would stay, on a 3-month trial project. If he succeeded, his position would be permanent. It wasn't victory, but it was a chance. That evening, Adrian found Aria in the living room. He lingered in the doorway like a man afraid he didn't belong. May I come in? He asked. Aria nodded. I spoke to the board, he said softly. I fought for him. Her breath loosened. Thank you. Don't thank me. I should have listened sooner. He rubbed a hand over his face. Aria, I've been absent. I know that. After the accident, I didn't know how to be your father anymore. She swallowed. I'm still me. I know. His voice cracked. But every time I looked at you, I saw the moment I failed you. I thought if I stayed away, it would hurt less. I was wrong. He sat beside her, shoulders heavy with regret. I want to do better, he whispered. I want to be your father again. Aria reached for his hand. For the first time in years, he didn't pull away. You don't have to be perfect, she said. Just be here. He nodded, eyes bright. I can do that. Dante threw himself into the 3-month housing project with relentless focus. Aria visited often. She brought dinner, or coffee, or simply herself. Sophia would sit beside her father, drawing worlds on scrap paper while he designed real ones. Nights blurred into weeks. And somewhere in between sketches and coffee cups and whispered fears, Dante and Aria grew closer, gravity pulling them into the same orbit. One evening after Sophia went to bed, Aria sat beside him on the couch, their shoulders brushing. I'm scared, Dante admitted quietly. If I fail this project, I lose everything again. You won't, she said, because you care. And that's what makes your work different. His expression softened. Aria. Her heart thudded. His hand brushed hers, just barely, but the touch lit something deep inside her. They didn't kiss. They didn't speak. But the moment held the weight of both. 3 months later, the project opened. 30 units of affordable, dignified housing. Light-filled rooms. Communal courtyard. Spaces that felt like home. Families gathered for the unveiling. Journalists. City officials. Board members. Aria watched Dante talk with a young mother moving into her new home. The woman cried as she thanked him. Sofia clung to Dante's hand, beaming with pride. Adrian approached Dante and extended his hand. "Congratulations," he said. "The board voted this morning. You're being promoted to senior project lead." Dante stared, stunned. "Thank you, sir. You earned it." For once, Dante didn't argue. A few weeks later, Aria had a checkup. After the session, her doctor pulled her aside, smiling. "Your progress is remarkable," he said. "If you continue at this pace, there's a very real chance you'll be able to walk with a mobility frame within 18 months. Aria froze. "Are you sure?" "No guarantees. But I'm optimistic." She left the clinic in a daze. Her hands shook as she called Dante. "What's wrong?" he asked immediately. "Nothing," she whispered, smiling through tears. "Everything's right. The doctor, he thinks I might walk again." Silence. Then Dante laughed, a sound full of unguarded joy. "Aria, that's incredible." For the first time in 3 years, she believed he was right. That weekend, Adrian invited Dante and Sofia to dinner, the first guests he'd welcomed into the house since Aria's mother died. Adrian cooked terribly. Sofia declared the burnt chicken crispy magic. Dante took over halfway through, laughing while Aria watched them all, heart full. After dinner, Adrian pulled out a camera. "I want a picture." Dante started to stand. "I'll take it." "No," Adrian said gently. "You're in it. You're family now." Sofia stood on a chair to take the photo. Dante knelt beside Aria, just like he had in the coffee shop months ago. Adrian stood behind them, his hand resting on his daughter's shoulder. The camera clicked. Later, Aria set 2 photos side by side on the table. The first, her graduation picture. Alone. The second, tonight's photo. Surrounded. "This is where it started," she whispered. Dante looked at the photos, then at her. "And this," he said softly, "is where we found each other." Adrian placed a hand on her shoulder. "And this," he murmured, voice rough, "is where I finally came home." Aria looked at the 2 photos, one of a girl trying to disappear, and one of a woman who had chosen to be seen. One moment. One kindness. One man kneeling in the rain. Everything had changed because of it.